Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day this video finds you. We're going to be talking about the Monster Hunter Wilds open beta today and why I feel like this open beta is the best Monster Hunter demo that's not actually a demo. Now that sentence out loud sounds stupid. It doesn't really make that much sense, but hear me out. This open beta was more or less a network test, right? And when you look at the structure of what actually happened, it starts to make more sense that they're testing the network that we're going to be using come February 28th when Monster Hunter Wilds actually releases, right? In the beginning, there was a PlayStation 5 only period, right? And if you're playing the beta, you have to sign in. You're online. It's an online only thing, right? Because Capcom is testing their online capabilities for the game. So, in the beginning with PS5 only, the question is, how well does our online work when all of the consoles are the same? Can PS5 users connect to other PS5 users and hunt monsters, right? Cool, I guess it worked. It was great. And then later on, they added in the Xbox people and PC people, and then the PlayStation 5 people got to come back again. So then the question there is, how well does our crossplay work, right? What kind of server load can we expect? You know what I mean? If you look at the Steam counts, apparently we got like over 400,000 people playing this beta at the same time. And you know, it's a network test. It's how well does our crossplay work, because we've never had crossplay in a Monster Hunter title before. So they test this. They're like, all right, can we handle the server load? Because it would be so tragic if, you know, we get to February 28th, all of us are so excited to, you know, engage in the crossplay, engage in the hunting with everybody, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody on Twitter, hey, I'm having trouble with ABC XYZ monster, and I'm like, cool, I'm down to hunt with you. What platform are you playing on? Right? And then they say, oh, I'm playing on PC. No, I play on PlayStation. I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, that's no longer a question anymore. Crossplay is coming to Monster Hunter. I'm so excited. However, it would be so tragic if we get to February and we're all hyped about the crossplay and then suddenly everything's broken at launch. Nothing works because they didn't test it, because they didn't anticipate the type of server load that they got on launch day. And we've seen this in modern gaming plenty of times. So it makes sense to host a beta test of sorts, to test your network, to gather info, right? I mean, in the end user agreement, whatever, the thing that you check and sign and say okay before you play the demo, Capcom says we're gonna gather data about, you know, your online activity to see what's really going on as far as the online goes. You know what I mean? So they're gathering this data. They have a bunch of data. They're going to make some tweaks and make it even more smooth at launch. So from that perspective, this open beta was a success. Like, we were able to, you know, hunt with any and everybody. Of course, you would, you know, crash out from time to time and it would boot you back to the login screen and you would be able to log right back in and get back to hunting. You know, it was like an always online type thing. But for the most part, I would kind of call this a success, because you were able to hunt monsters and you were able to play in the multiplayer, and it was pretty smooth for the most part. However, the performance did leave something to be desired, right? Even if you're on consoles, you know, it plays fine, but I found myself playing more in the fidelity mode, because the performance mode made it so blurry, but it didn't actually lock it in to 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, ooh, this is really blurry for 45 frames. And then the PC mode, oh my God, you guys were playing the N64 version, bro. Origami Monsters, crazy work, you know? And that's not a very good look. But when you think about what the purpose of this was, I think it was to test the network capability. And do note, it's not called Monster Hunter Wilds demo version. It's called Monster Hunter Wilds open beta, right? Anybody can play. They're looking to test the server load. However, as a Monster Hunter demo, I do think that this open beta is better than a lot of the demos that we've ever had. Let me explain. Looking at Rise and Sunbreak, which are the two demos that I've had content creator experience with. Yes, I did play the World Open Beta way back when, but I wasn't as much of a content creator. I wasn't as plugged in as I am now. But looking at Rise and Sunbreak, what you do is you pick a weapon, you pick a monster to hunt, you go hunt it, and then at the end of that hunt, thanks for playing, it boots you back to the eShop or the PlayStation Store or whatever the hell, so that you can, you know, put in a pre-order for the game or buy it or whatever. You know what I mean? So looking at the actual demo, right? This open beta displays more of the actual gameplay loot than what any other demo I can recall off the top of my head has ever done, right? You're at the camp, you have a couple of armor sets that you can change. You have a couple of weapons that you can change. You change weapons organically. All of the weapons are in your box and you get to choose whatever weapon you want in your primary and secondary, but also you get a couple of armor sets. You know what I mean? So you get a little bit of exposure to the skill system. For example, if you're playing a weapon with a shield, you're going to throw on a couple pieces of the Doshiguma armor set so that when you get a clash, you get to benefit from the bonus that comes from the Doshiguma armor set bonus. Whoa, we've never had something like that in the demo before. Usually in the demo, you pick what weapon you want and it just kind of throws you in there. You don't get to change your armor, whatever. Or let's say you want to go and take down a Raid Owl, but you find yourself getting clapped. You're like, oh my God, one shot kills, it's crazy. You can go back to camp, change your armor set, and put on as many pieces that have Divine Blessing, so that maybe when you take a hit, you take less damage, you survive it, and you can overcome. That's part of the Monster Hunter experience, and that's in this open beta and not in any of the demos that we've had previously. So from that, you know, standpoint, this is the best demo we've ever had. However, I do think it can get better. Check this out. I don't think this is going to be the only beta or demo that we've ever had, right? I do think they're going to make some changes to it. They're going to put some more time into it, which I really hope that the full game is, you know, fully optimized and amazing, you know what I'm saying? Because like the performance issues that we talked about earlier are still a thing, right? And I would rather all hands on deck to make the full game that we're actually going to play for years and years to come better. I really hope they you know, make that happen. I would rather them spend the time on the full game than, you know, have some devs come here and work on this little beta or this little demo that really is only ever going to be relevant for a couple of months at best. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to be playing this version of the game forever and ever, amen. We're just not. That's just not what's going to happen. So any time that they spend optimizing and making this beta better is going to end up just kind of, I don't want to say wasted, but it's going to kind of evaporate, right? Because when Monster Hunter Wilds 1.0 releases, they're going to work on that, and that's going to get patches, and that's going to get updates, and that's going to get better over time. They're not going to make the demo better over time, like, you know? But having a good demo can put a good taste in the mouth of those who are looking to get into the game, you know? But if the full game is looking good and they're happy with their progress on it, and they're saying, all right, it's fully optimized, we can actually come back and work on this demo a little bit and maybe release it, I don't know, early February, maybe late January, as like a full demo rather than another open beta, then what they can do is put in a little bit of crafting in the demo, right? So in the beta, as it stands right now, we have Doshiguma armor set, we have the Balahara armor set, we have the Chatakabra armor set, right? We don't have a Raid Owl armor set, but you can hunt Raid Owl and you can carve, and they give you rewards for hunting Raid Owl. If a demo comes out and it uses the data from your beta, what if they put in the flagship Arkveld? And, you know, tradition states when the flagship is in the demo, it's a buffed up version. It's super hard. It's mad difficult, right? So they're going to put in this mad difficult version of Arkveld in the demo, okay? And, you know, when they say, hey, demo's out, download it January 21st and enjoy it, blah, 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 blah. Your character will still transfer to the full game, but you can enjoy the Arkveld hunt that we put in, and you can hunt him on the Windward Plains. Cool. So when you go out and you hunt Arkveld, let's say he's super hard, you get clapped. triple carded, you lose, you fail the hunt, right? They send you back to camp, and let's say the blacksmith, Gemma, is there, and she's like, hey, I heard what happened to you when you went to go hunt Arkveld. I'm not fully ready yet, but if you have Ray Dow pieces, I can craft you a Ray Dow armor set and a Ray Dow weapon, right? And it doesn't have to be exactly the same armor set and weapon that's going to actually be in the full game, but it can make the super hard Arkveld hunt a little bit easier and more manageable, and thus closing the loop of what Monster Hunter is, right? So let's say you're this new player, you're a little bit intimidated by Ray Dow in the beta and in the demo, but Gemma says, hey, I'm gonna make you an armor set from Ray Dow pieces. Maybe you go farm up a Ray Dow armor set and weapon, and then take that to go hunt this super hard Arkveld, and then you overcome. Boom, the loop is closed. You went and fought Arkveld, you lost, you got defeated. Arkveld is a nemesis for you. Arkveld is a wall, he walled you out, and then you go and create an armor set, you go and create a new weapon, and then you go back in there and you overcome the difficulty, and you get that dopamine hit when you finally experience, I took down Arkveld. And that can get a lot of players who didn't really understand what Monster Hunter is about, who have never had the Monster Hunter experience, hooked on it, and they can finally go, oh, I get it. This is how you get stronger. Not only by you as a player getting better, but your gear and your weapons getting better as well. And you have to craft it. You have to work for it. You have to work up to that point where now I can defeat that monster that I couldn't defeat before. And then, boom, you have a new hunter on your hands. You have someone new that understands the Monster Hunter formula, and they're like, oh, I get it. I'm getting this game, right? However, the performance has got to be much better than what it was before. We can't have origami monsters and sell somebody again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be a little bit better, but the demo can be better because, hey, we can put in this little part where, hey, now there's crafting, now there's preparation, now there's, I'm gonna go take on this tough foe and I'm gonna overcome and win and get that dopamine rush that all of us Monster Hunters that currently love Monster Hunter, we've had that before in the past. At some point in one game or another, we're like, oh, we get it. This is why we love Monster Hunter. And now we're going to be able to get a lot more new players in because the demo is going to showcase what Monster Hunter is actually about. So if the performance of the demo / open beta gets better and they can sprinkle in having Gemma craft an armor set and really get people to come into the Monster Hunter experience and experience an entire closed loop, right? You get to change your armor around depending on what you're trying to hunt, change your weapons depending on what you're trying to hunt, the preparation aspect of Monster Hunter, and then you go in there and you overcome. I think we can actually have the best demo of all time on our hands. Performance aside, right? We want to have good performance. So I can understand why after the open beta, a lot of people are like, man, I ain't buying this, bro. Origami monsters and my PC is XYZ strong and it still can't run this. I'm not buying this. I'm not about it. I understand, and you're valid for feeling that way. However, if they can tune up the performance and put in a little bit of the Monster Hunter loop, I think we are going to have the best demo of all time on our hands, and Monster Hunter Wilds is going to explode even more than we already think it's going to be. So that's about it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, people, happy hunting. Peace.